So I did a show on Father's Day last year, a live stream, and we talked about the importance of fathers. And this is a topic you just don't hear about it on the mainstream news stations. You don't hear about it on the YouTube front page. It's one of those things that everybody's like, yeah, fathers are important, I guess. I mean, if we didn't need to deal with them, we probably would just choose not to if we could, but I guess they're okay, right? That's kind of the attitude that we have towards fathers. But I think fathers are important. I think they deserve to be held up as a certain standard of what a father is and what a father really means, what it means to be a patriarch, what it means to be the head of the household, and a good husband, a good father, a good leader and role model to your kids. And as many of you know, I do work with kids professionally. I am an educator, as Steve Garrison likes to say. So I'm very passionate about figuring out ways to help kids get better at stuff, help them deal with their issues, because as their music teacher, we deal with emotions and personality and interpretation. And so a lot of that stuff requires me to really get inside these kids' heads. And let me tell you, folks, these kids growing up today are dealing with some stuff that is unfathomable to me, having grown up in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's a completely different animal out there. And so the role of fathers and tight family structures is more important than ever. But you're not going to get that message from the mainstream news organizations. I did a different spin on this topic. The title of the show is Don't Dare Divorce. And what I mean by that is I got the idea for this show based on a conversation or a debate that I was having with my lovely fiance, my lovely producer, my lovely psychologist, researcher extraordinaire, Miss Jessica Taylor. And we were debating on whether divorce is better or worse for a young child growing up. And so you know a little bit about my background. You understand why a topic like this would maybe be a little closer to my heart than most people. And it's going to be a challenge to not make this a real depressing downer of a show. But I have some positive things. I have some caveats here. My personal experience with this, my parents stayed together. They both heavily influenced me in the areas that I work today. I don't think I would be as successful as I am if they did split up. Have you been divorced before? Let me know that in the comments. If it's not, as long as you don't have any open litigation or anything like that going on here. I don't want to get any of you guys sued or whatever, but I'm just trying to keep the conversation going, and I want to hear from you all out there. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. I have a wonderful, amazing presentation that Jess put together. And this is a brochure, so the front page is actually on the right here. This is the effects of divorce on parents and their kids, and the therapeutic interventions for families that are currently going through divorce. So this article here is really interesting because it's not just saying, hey, there's a bunch of problems, X, Y, and Z, and oh, woe is me. There's actually solutions here and very detailed, specific types of therapies that intervene in these folks' lives and kind of help the child make it through these situations a little easier. The first thing here is the treatments, and we have guidelines that were developed to succeed where the court-ordered therapy fails. Some of the patterns that parents fall into are doing things like creating this image of an evil villain. And the therapist's job is to fight that with love and kindness and patience. We have all kinds of things that parents do. I don't think they do it intentionally against the kid, but it happens. We have the statistics here. Now, if you're not aware, divorce is at an all-time high since the pandemic, since people have been locked inside with each other. They hate each other more and more and more than even usual. So the marriage rate, there's the divorce rate. Even though that's not the vast majority, I mean, that's still a pretty large chunk. It's growing in popularity every day. Uh, Divorce effects, and we have the men here in the light blue seem to be less angry with their former spouse, but they also seem less unhappy with their life. Now that's interesting. We're talking about men here. We're talking about the fathers, right? And then the women tend to be more angry and less happy. So you put those two things together, you start to get an idea of the picture that's coming into play here. And let's look at some more of this stuff. The effects on kids. All right, I'm not going to do all of these. It's going to take too long. It's going to be very depressing. You can read that. Decreased social maturity. I mean, altered outlook on sexual behavior, loss of religious faith, loss of cognitive stimulation, negative impact on physical health, increased risk of emotional distress, psychiatric disorders, suicide attempts. I mean, a lot. There's a lot there. And I'm sure that if you didn't have this space constraint, there would be about 20 more as well. Basically, to sum it all up, it's not pretty. And even though divorce is not more popular, I guess, than staying married, that kind of should give you all a little bit of hope, right? Because I think that what the colloquial wisdom is that, oh, 50% of marriages fail. But actually, that graph, the circle chart, shows you that it's actually closer to like maybe 25-30%. So it's not that marriage is flawed in and of itself. Marriage can actually be a very positive thing, at least compared to putting the kids through a divorce. So that's the first point. Let's set the foundation here, which is not my opinion. This is backed up by science. So here's what we're going to get into next. I want to give a caveat. The caveat is not all divorces result in just a horrible, terrible outcome for the child. It doesn't doom them for life, right? I want to make that very clear because there are some circumstances where divorce is the only option. You can't get around that. The exception does not disprove the rule. But for any of you out there who think I'm looking at this one-sided, there's multiple sides. So let's look at this number 3 here. This is celebrities who were raised by independent single mothers. Not all of them were divorced, but we're just going to look at the musicians here. Just the musicians. We have Christina Aguilera, and let's see, first sentence of the entire article. Christina Aguilera grew up in a hostile environment. Before her mother mustered the strength to leave, she had no choice but to be submissive to Christina's abusive father. And so right away, we're getting a lot of colorful language here. Now, I don't want to make since I'm not as familiar with this story, I'm not making a fact claim or an opinion about this, but all I'm saying is notice the language. She mustered the strength. She's so strong. She's so courageous. She also had no choice. She totally didn't choose the father that gave her a daughter. She totally didn't choose the man who abused her. She had no choice whatsoever. Again, not putting an opinion, just noticing the language. Of course, Christina still respects her mother. And so here's breaking that down a little bit more. Why didn't she just leave? Christina says there's psychological damage and mental abuse that comes with being in a situation like that. And I happen to agree. I agree. And they don't know how to vocalize it, or they don't have the know-how to get out. In certain situations, yes, I think that's also an excuse that gets used, but that's a topic for another video. Kelly Clarkson, the father left when Kelly was just 6 years old. And so when I speak of the importance of fathers and fatherhood, I am not talking about fathers like this, all right? Fathers that just abscond their duties. Now, what we're missing from this story is why did the father leave, right? He left. What a bad guy. I'm sure he had no reason whatsoever. He just randomly left. Anyway, mom was a hard mom. She was like, get up and try again. And it really does require the mother to be stronger and, both parents in that situation. So can't really knock them for that. Next, we got the musical genius, God himself, the greatest rapper of all time, Kanye West. Kanye, Yeezy, is most famous for his former relationship with Kim Kardashian. And let's see, his megalomaniacal attitude, his relationship with his late mother, Donda, reveals a kinder, more vulnerable side of him. So here we go with the divorce. All right, Kanye, a child of divorce. His parents divorced when he was 3 years old. She supported him in his artistic endeavors and worked as his manager for a while. So you see the divorce, and then you see the skewed vision of maybe relationships here and physical beauty, just like what we were talking about in the article. You see the megalomaniacal attitude. Justin Bieber as well. Patty Millette became a mother when she was just 19 years old. Her relationship with her son wasn't as vibrant as it seems to be these days, but Justin recognizes all of the hard work she put in. His mother released a book, and she owes her success and net worth to her son. The point here is, and we'll keep going, but the point is, these are insanely successful guys in the music industry who came from really messed up backgrounds. So this is my caveat right here. This is proof that it is not a black and white issue. Alicia Keys is of Italian descent on her mother's side. And she was raised in the chaotic streets of Hell's Kitchen in New York. Let's see, Alicia highlighted her mother's strength. She had no contact with her father. And so these mothers are, I guess, doing good jobs if their kids grow up to become multimillionaires. Jay-Z, let's see, it's often said that the relationship one has with their parents reflects in their own intimate relationships. Considering the fact Queen Bee and Jay-Z are relationship goals, it's safe to assume, what does that mean? People want to have a relationship like theirs? Isn't their relationship like extremely dysfunctional and like public and weird a lot of the time? Anyway, it's safe to assume Jay-Z had a good relationship with his mother. I mean, have you asked him that? Maybe he disagrees with that. I don't know if we should be assuming stuff like that. But Gloria Carter raised Jay-Z and his siblings all by herself after her husband left the family. And again, the husband had absolutely no reason to leave. He's just a bad guy. Finally, we have Selena Gomez. And let's see. She evolved through the years, raised by her mom, who worked as manager until the Wolf Singer fired her in her late teens. Okay, well, she must have been an awesome mom if she got fired from her daughter. Anyway, she was only 16 years old, so clearly a role model right there. In order to provide, she worked 3 jobs, and Selena credits her mom for being so professional, independent, and humble, and that's why they had such a great business relationship, obviously. That right there is proof that it can be done. You can divorce, and your child can still grow up to be way, way more successful than you. The exception does not disprove the rule, though. Do you want to take that risk? How rare is it to be walking down the street and run into Justin Bieber? And so that's just about how rare it is to have a divorce and then have that child grow up to be the next Justin Bieber, all right? So there's rules, but there's also exceptions. That's my very nuanced take on this. If you disagree, let me know in the comments down below. The last thing here is my best explanation for how did we get here. And I found this article, which has a very long title, Growing Visibility of Those Who Are Single Parents by Choice is Paving the Way for Others Who Want Kids Before Finding a Partner. Let's break this down real quick, because most people are just going to read the headline anyway. Growing visibility, first of all, means this is being done more often. If you want to look at it logically, it means it's doing more, okay, more of this. Those who are single parents makes it sound like they just happened to be that way by choice. is making it sound like it's a good choice. Paving the way makes it sound like, oh, they're leaders, they're great role models, and they're great influences for others who want kids before finding a partner. It's all about what you want, guys. You can have anything you want, and finding a partner is so difficult, and you should just be able to do whatever you want and forget the society's rules. Like there's limits on certain things. The desire to have kids is still one of the driving reasons why people want to get married. About half of people said that it's a very important factor. Okay, here we go with some very colorful language. A growing awareness that you don't need to have a partner in order to become a parent is changing the narrative, including for people who are deciding to become single parents by choice in their 20s, well before the ticking clock enters the conversation. What this means is, if you look at this literally and you take the spin and you take the colorful words out of this, what this means is there are more and more people having kids who are not married. That's what they're saying. But when you see a growing awareness, it makes it like, I want to be aware. I'm left out of something. I need to know this. I need to be on the bandwagon here. You don't need to have a husband or a wife to have a child. Wow, that's a brand new narrative. Okay, so that's the first thing here. So with colorful language, you can make a negative reality sound like it's something positive and inspirational. I don't feel like I need a partner to become a parent. Before the pandemic, Kelly was so overscheduled, she never had time to slow down and think about what she wanted and to take action. She just didn't have time. She didn't make decisions. She was just forced. Her schedule forced her. Kelly says she would like a partner in the future, but she doesn't want that to postpone her dreams of becoming a mom, because we all know that men just love marrying women who have kids already. She started researching all the different ways you can become a parent without a partner: in vitro fertilization, adoption, and fostering. She'd rather be impregnated by a machine or a scientist than another human being. Kind of strange, in my opinion. But what do you think about that? I want to know what y'all think. Solo parenting due to the COVID restrictions. She's gone through the process largely on her own. And let's see, she got the injectable medications needed to get her body ready for the egg retrieval process. She went alone to her appointments, retrieved the eggs, and implanted them herself. I mean, really? This is brave and raising awareness, and I'm kind of grossed out. I'm not going to lie here, guys. No hate, no judgment, but you could read all of the reasons why and why they're so brave, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The main reason that single folks are wanting to become parents all on their own, because dating is very difficult. It's hard. Just simply put, dating is hard, guys. It's hard. Who has time for that? Who has time to sit at a dinner table and talk to another human being for like an hour and have them buy you dinner and talk to them and get to know them and ask them questions about their morality and their favorite movies and what they love and what their life goals are? It's hard. It's too difficult. Nobody has time for that. So there's all of these safety nets here. There's all of these options. It goes back to, you can have whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. The stigma of single parenthood. I mean, is there a stigma? Yes. Are all stigmas necessarily bad? No. It's all very positive, guys. It's all very positive. I'm sure it will not decimate your chances of finding a high value man, ladies. Just go ahead and get that test tube baby. You could probably customize it too. And they probably have like little apps for that where you can like, it's like designing your avatar in an RPG, right? Where you just pick your baby's eye color and their hair and like, ooh, do you want them to have like face tats and do you want them to have like little earrings and stuff? And we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of journalists and people who are taking this one side of this narrative and saying it's great, it's brave, it's awesome, you can do whatever you want, you have choice, you have absolutely no requirements. Just throw the rules out the window, throw society out the window, and everything's going to be fine. Okay. My opinion is this is all a bunch of emotional manipulation. However, it's given us some great musicians. It's given us some great artists, and maybe that struggle and that dysfunction in their early life is what led to them having such their music having such an emotional impact. So there's that side of it too. There's many, 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 many sides here, and so that's my opinion on that, folks. If you agree, if you disagree, if you think I'm totally nuts, leave a comment in the comment section down below. In my opinion here, I say, sorry, Emily Lawrence. Sorry, I think fathers are not obsolete. I think they're very important, in fact. I think kids need as much guidance and support as they can possibly get. They're dealing with a lot of other issues that we never had to worry about. So if you ask me, I say, don't you dare divorce. And that's how you get the money.